All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to June 11th, Milwaukee Mental Health Network meeting. That's the joint with the June 11th budget presentation of the Milwaukee County Mental Health Board. I'm here to one of four chairs of the Mental Health Task Force. And I'm glad to see everybody here today. And I want to say for some brief welcomes and get going with the meeting. We invited a number of special guests here today, and I'd like to welcome the special guests. We have Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors, Milwaukee Comprehensive Care Collaboration, known as MCC3, the Board on Aging, the Combined Human Services Board, the Aging Disability Resource Governing Board, the Executive Committee of the Criminal Justice Committee, and the City of Milwaukee Health Department. So we had that we will take it with us today, and someone will be coming later. And now I'd like to turn it over to Nicole Donando, one of our other chairs.
This is a much bigger room than Independence First for running around. Thank you everyone for coming today. My name is Nicole Donando. I'm the co-chair for the Health Task Force. Thank you for coming up to Washington Park Senior Center. We're really excited for this opportunity. I just want to take a moment to say happy Pride to myself. LGBTQIA plus folks out there. It's a fun that's very dear to my heart. So thank you for coming. We are doing a hybrid meeting, so per usual, we have technical difficulties. But for those of you that are Zoom participants, Montreal is monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions or tech issues, please put that in the chat and we will monitor those. Please remain muted to minimize background noise for others. Auto captioning is provided. We do have in-person ASL interpreters. And if you are joining virtually or in person, you can always request accommodations. I think I'm that person now. So we should have that information on the website for each one of the accommodations. For everyone here, thank you. All of our participants, we hope to have some time after each speaker so that you can ask me questions. Again, if you're virtual attendees, please put your questions in the chat. And again, our level sign language interpreters are provided at that point. So, thanks for your time. Christine Apple is going to introduce our first speaker for today.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending today. Our next guest needs no introduction, but I will introduce her anyway. Kristen Serchen is a psychological associate at the Cheetah Correctional Institution, and she is conscientious with writing to me saying, hey, if someone's coming out of the institution, I think the person will need help if they get out. And very nice thing to do. But also, I noticed on her description line is that certified peer specialist oversight is me co-chair. I said, okay, why don't you come to one of our clinical task force meetings and describe all the certified peer support specialist trainings that are going on in the Department of Corrections, and how can we have some synergy in the community with certified peer support specialists actually. So I would like to introduce Kristen Serchen, psychological associate from the Cheetah Correctional Institution.
Okay, so my name is Kristen. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and clinical substance abuse counselor at the Cheetah Correctional Institution. Like Dr. Apple said, my full-time job is I provide individual and group therapy to the individuals that are paired. And then I also co-chair and oversee the certified peer specialist program specifically at the Cheetah. So today we're gonna kind of talk about, help you guys get an understanding of what in our population, really important with clinical services to enhance treatment with individuals that are. Can you hear me now? Very good. Yeah. Is there any echo? Are we able to hear it online? That's yes. Things working. Okay, yeah, okay, sounds good. Okay, so Startina Correctional Institution is located in Fond du Lac, so it's about an hour north of here. And it is considered a maximum security prison, but we're unique that we house maximum and medium custody individuals. Another part is we serve as an intake, assessment, and evaluation facility for all females that are sent to the prison. So if you're familiar with Dodge, all the men, they go to Dodge for assessment, their custody levels, programming, and then they get shipped out to other institutions according to their custody level. At Serchen, we have the and max all in one place, and then we have two minimum sites. So we have three, Robert E. Ellsworth down in Union Grove, and then we have Milwaukee Women's Correctional here in Milwaukee. So our current population, I said this last week, there are 896, as of today, we're at 909, which is the highest we've been. It's quite a while. So we are seeing more and more individuals being sentenced to prison, whether it's short sentences on revocation, which a lot, we saw backlogs with COVID when the court systems were kind of backlogged. So we are overcrowded. We're doing our best to come up with creative and safe ways that we can provide services with the amount of people that we have. And then, as many know, our current staffing patterns. We have more security staff with the increase in pay. However, as we see in mental health services, pay inequality among social workers, treatment specialists, AODA counselors, therapists, counselors, that tends to still be an issue. Okay. 95% of our population have a mental health diagnosis, which is huge. This ranges though from anything from like adjustment related disorders to psychotic disorders, personality disorders. And what we're seeing now, which it has brought a lot of conversations, is we have a lot of acute cases of individuals that have psychotic related symptoms, individuals engaging in significant self-harm, whether that's cutting, banging their heads, inserting, and a large population of individuals have strong personality disorder traits, that they have difficulty regulating their emotions, they're impulsive, some individuals are assaultive towards others, towards staff. So in our role as mental health care, we meet every individual that has a mental health diagnosis at a minimum of every 4 weeks, up to every 6 weeks. This is like the big difference within the men's institutions. So the men's institutions, they are seen every 90 days or up to 6 months. But to Gina, here we have a higher level mental health lead. We have a lot more staff to provide mental health services. So we see our individuals every 4 to 6 weeks. We do have a special management unit. We call it Monarch. There's 47 beds, and those are for individuals that need a higher level of care than can be provided in general population. So I think the general population is like IEP type treatment. The next step up from our special management unit is we partner with the Wisconsin Women's Resource Center, WWRC, which is in Oshkosh. They're a wonderful resource, but they're very small. So they have 40 beds. 10 of those beds are for a 6-month intensive trauma program. And then we also share the rest of those beds so that they're with probation, parole, alternative to revocations, treatment competency, chapter 51 commitments. So we're very limited in being able to provide services for very acute cases based on our med and management structure right now. So both of our higher levels of care require referrals from PSU or psychological services. And this is where the Certified Peer Specialist Program comes into help a lot. So, as many may be familiar with, a Certified Peer Specialist is a person who has their own lived experience with mental health and or substance use challenges and has completed formal training and certification in peer specialist model of mental health and substance use oriented peer support. Within the entire Department of Corrections, we have roughly 200 trained individuals that have passed the certification to be a certified peer specialist. At Teachito, we have 20 trained, 9 are currently working. There's a higher need, but we have limited space where individuals can be seen. They have to be seen in a place where there's a camera or where staff are able to intervene if necessary. And then at our minimum sites, so Robert E. Ellsworth, they have 13 trained peer specialists. Milwaukee Women's has 5. And at the Wisconsin Resource Center, for the past 1.5 years, we started implementing the program there. They have more trained peer specialists there as well. So how did it start within the Department of Corrections? So back in around 2016, the Wisconsin Secure Program Facility, or WSPF, it's a maximum security facility for men. We're seeing a lot of staff assaults, cell entries, a lot of observation placements, and it just felt like staff wouldn't really get a handle on being able to manage the population that was there. So they piloted what they call the peer mentoring program. And by doing that, they saw that this increased cell entries, less clinical observation placements or suicide watch placements, and staff assaults. So they began to look into it further and found that a lot of other states already implement a similar program within their correctional facilities. So there was a group of DOC employees, they went to Colorado and Pennsylvania to learn a little bit more about what their programs exactly look like. And when they came back, what happened is DHS already had a program in place, which is Wisconsin Certified Peer Specialists. So we partnered with them to be able to implement it within the prison system. So over probably the last year and a half, in both the men's and the women's institutions, we've actually trained persons in our care to become state certified trainers to help have more training. So we saw a barrier that it was difficult to have somebody from the community that was trained as a state trainer to come into the institution, like take a week off of work, come into the institution, train these individuals without getting paid. So we kind of put our resources together. Now we have individuals within the institution that are trained to provide the training to become a certified peer specialist, which is really, really great. And here's a little bit of what it looks like within TCI. So we have committee memberships, these are things that are required of us. So we have the facility coordinator, which is myself, and then I also co-chair with the lieutenant. We have psychological service unit staff member, the deputy warden or someone they designate, security supervisor, a unit sergeant or officer, which is really, really helpful as they really get to know the individuals that we're serving. And then other staff, so we have a social worker and a treatment specialist that are also part of our committee. And our responsibility is we provide general oversight, so all of this scheduling. So in order for somebody to go and meet with somebody else, they have to put out what we call movements. We have to schedule them a space to meet. We have to coordinate that they don't have conflicts with other appointments, things of that nature. We do mediation and conflict resolutions, whether that's with the staff. Sometimes it's hard getting staff on board with the certified peer specialist program. And then we also complete work performance evaluations every 6 months. We also are part of the recruitment and selection of inmates to become certified peer specialists, which we'll get onto in the next slide. We have a policy and procedure. We make sure that we are following, and then doing quality improvement. So we have recently been looking at, and I get to this a little bit later, we paired with UW-Madison. They have a graduate student that is actually doing research on the effectiveness of certified peer specialists with daily business systems. So we have to enter like number of contacts that a peer specialist has with their peer, the reason if they were terminated or if they quit, things like that. And we're still waiting for the results, as she types up her dissertation. So far, we saw less conduct reports, so thinking it as like tickets, less cell entries, less observation placements. So we know there's a lot of like qualitative data, right? People send in letters, they share how much they benefit from the program. And we were missing this piece of like, what is it actually showing the effectiveness in a quantitative way. So that is to, so the next, these are all the things that are required for somebody that is interested in becoming a peer specialist. So this is determined by our policy. So we partner with the Department of Health Services. Her name is Dr. Johnson, and she is great at making sure that we are in line with everything we need to do. And she's a good person to help us communicate with the community and what they want to see. So to become a CPS, the individual has to be in general population status. They have to have a lived experience with mental health, substance abuse disorder, or exposure to trauma. They have to have their GED or high school diploma. That part of it is more so for the testing aspect that comes after the training. No findings of guilt on any major conduct report in the last year. No findings of guilt on an assault conduct report in the last 2 years. Staff assault, solicitation of staff on any sexually related or drug related offense in the last 5 years. No suicide attempts or self-injury behavior in the last year. Clearance by our security director for our Navy coordinator. And they have to be cleared from a mental health and health perspective to be able to work with the institution. And then we ask that they more than 2 years remaining before they release. It's a lot of resources that go into getting this started. And then also our goal is training individuals up to Cheetah so they can transition through custody levels, then go to the minimum sites and continue to provide services. And then linking that with access to independence to obtain employment upon release. So the selection process basically kind of like both the job posting, the interview candidate, and then the oversight committee, we make sure they meet all the criteria, and then we select our individuals to be trained and become certified peer specialists, so much like it would be in the community. And then the certification process is 48-hour training. So now we're really excited. In September, we'll be using our 3 individuals that are currently housed at Wichita to do the state training. And then after the completion, they take a licensing exam, and that we pair with each other in Milwaukee and administering it. The downfalls we have to do it by paper, and we have to enter it, so sometimes delay. But everyone so far has passed, at least at Cheetah, and they do recertification and continuing education every 2 years. So we have a recertification, in 2 weeks. Referrals to the program, so any staff member can refer any individuals to the program. There's no specific, pathing. Most of the mail institutions, they use like a application, there's some questions that to fill out. We take that if somebody is reaching out to have services, then they run services. So we add them to our wait list, and when there's availability, and we slowly add them up to an individual's case. They can also write to their social worker, site level services, use mental health, or directly to the oversight committee requesting services. The only thing that can provide us is what are they hoping to work on with your specialists, and that is mainly for the research part. We know the services are voluntary, they can quit at any time, there's no repercussions if they don't want to do the program. If they decide now's not a good time, because they're involved in something else, if they have conflicts, they can always really tax the program. Don't have anybody who can say I'm doing this. So the big part that we see the benefits of using peer specialists within correction setting is that they're a really important addition, not a replacement. They help us fill in the gaps. We also know sometimes it's easier talking to a peer than it is talking to somebody in a professional setting. I think what makes it really unique within the field of like corrections is many people that work in corrections don't have the lived experience of being a student. You know, so we have a lot of people that the reason they want to be with peer specialists is adjusting to incarceration in general. It's very scary. It's completely something, especially the kids that have never been incarcerated before, as a whole new world, they don't really understand what to expect. So to have somebody that has lived through that has been through that, to be able to talk, hey, this is what worked for me, or hey, what if you try this? It's a lot more helpful than someone like myself. Yeah, that's really hard to understand that. I mean, I can't. So our peer specialists, they assist in supplementing staff efforts to minimize negative behaviors and improve pro-social skills. So they carry a binder that have all different types of handouts, so they can work on like brief with somebody, they can assign homework to their peers. They can ask the committee for like psychoeducational materials to their peers. And like I said before, there's a lot of qualitative data that demonstrates the importance of the program. And we're just waiting for the results of the quantitative data. But so far, what I've been told is to see a reduction in recidivism for those who work with the CPS and incarcerated. And then the more meetings that they attended, the fewer conduct reports that people received. Do we have any questions about the peer specialist aspects before I dive into maybe letting you know what's going on in the world of Startina? Okay.
So Kristen, just here, we're at 30, so we do have some time.
Yay, but looking for space. Okay, so these are very small. These are the programs that we are currently offering at Startina for individuals in our care. So we do a 9-month TBC program, which is an hour of individual 750 hours per week. And then after they graduate from that program, they can do an aftercare support program. We do a moral recognition therapy, so MRT, that's more individually paced every 6 to 9 months is usually when people complete. Our cognitive behavioral program, moving on, is evidence-based program for females. We don't do Thinking for a Change. We do Beyond Violence, which is our anger management. We offer sex offender treatment. Lots of different educational programs, and we have a culinary arts program that's supposed to be starting in the fall. We work with the DWD, we have a job center, so individuals 45 to 30 days before they release work on their resume, letter of expectations, they can apply to jobs, they can interview for jobs before they release. With the Windows to Work program, and then the almighty substance use disorder or the earned release program. So have you guys heard of the earned release program? No, we've been better. Okay. So the earned release program, this is where a lot of individuals in our care get pretty upset. Because sometimes they are revoked or sentenced with, like, the judge or their agent will tell them, like, I want you to go to prison to get treatment. That's gonna be your best bet, because there's very limited services for women in general in the community, especially if you live in a rural community, right? Whether it's like access to transportation or, you know, there's some facilities, they have 5 beds for women and they have 30 beds for men. So there's wait lists and things of that nature. So the substance abuse program is an opportunity if they have the earned release program, which is the judge gives eligibility or not, except if you're serving a 940 or 948 crime, to potentially release from prison and serve the remaining time on supervision if you successfully complete the substance use disorder program. So there's a lot of criteria that you have to fit in order to be eligible for that program. So a big part is you cannot be maximum custody. That's built into the policy. You have to have a minimum of 8 months left on your sentence from the day that you start the program. So what we oftentimes see is people get sentenced, let's say 18 months, and they sit 4 or 5 months in county jail, waiting for sentencing, or they get time credit from previous revocations. Then they come to prison and they have to sit 8 to 12 weeks until they're classified, because it's a whole process where they establish their treatment needs. And then they don't have enough time to do treatment based on their sentence. You know, so I'm not saying like sentence people to longer parts, but being aware that, because a lot of people do that. And then I write up, like I reach out to Dr. Apples, like this individual has all these treatment needs, and because they were only sentenced to 7 months, they didn't have time to do any of the type of programs we offer here. Which then when people come in and then they're releasing with what on paper looks like nothing has improved. So that's a big part. Another part is if they have pending felony charges, they can't participate in the program until the charges are resolved. And then if they're under investigation for felony, they might get charged. They also can't do the program. So like there's all these different kind of barriers that limit the potential for the release program. But it's something that's out there, just something to be mindful of. I don't know if you guys work with agents or if you guys are agents or within the court system, is that this is something that we see over and over again. I know a lot of people come to me like, hey, I want to do a substance use disorder program. I'm like, that's great, and you don't have enough time to do it, so what can we provide individually? Right, but that doesn't give them a certificate. That's what they want. They want the certificate so they can go and say, like, hey, I did this, I accomplished this. And that looks way different than if you meet with me one-on-one. We can do similar work, but it's much different in that part of like internal like satisfaction of completing something. So that's my big part of the substance abuse program, and that's what we're seeing is individuals have been using drugs, so like big increase in extensive meth use recently, which then makes it difficult to decipher if they have active psychotic symptoms as a post-acute withdrawal, or if they're having actual mental health problems, and how we treat it. So yeah. Any questions? Yes.
Since they're city, but,
Yeah.
propose the person you, so that when they get it, there's not this leg of time that they have to go through 8 to 12 weeks of figuring out. They don't, doesn't it make sense to do all that? How's that?
Right.
Why is it that?
Yeah, so really acute cases.
Yeah, just, do you mind just rephrasing that so folks can hear us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he was asking kind of how can we prepare from the county jails for individuals that are coming to prison, especially from a mental health perspective. So mental health wise, we have to meet with everyone within the first 72 hours that they come in, and we complete like a 5 psychosocial assessment. And right there, we start meeting with them every 4 or 5 weeks from there. And they can always write us to be seen sooner. The county is, people prefer prison over county, is, because there are more opportunities, right? I know a lot of counties, like, they don't need to go outside at all. Most of the time they're staying in their cells. When they are in that intake period, there's some things they can do. They can attend religious services, library, recreation, and volunteer in the kitchen. They're just very limited. But it would be a great thing to prepare people. And I don't know if there's resources in the county to do it, to be completely honest. And I think, I think people know that they're gonna sit for a while. They just don't anticipate. 8 weeks is a long time to be in your cell 23 hours a day, right? Until that you do get classified. It's a very long time. And then we look at to how can we provide that, like, can we have a group with just individuals that are in need so we can answer those questions? Can we have more orientation sessions to explain, this is kind of how things are, this is what this looks like. But it would be ideal if that could be something that's implemented. Yeah. Yeah.
Did you say, criteria, if someone who's still under investigation for any their felonies dropped before they qualify for the program, so are they being sent to prison still under investigation and not sentenced?
No, good question. So she was asking about the substance abuse program, if they have a pending felony charge or they're under investigation for a felony, if they're sentenced or not. Most times they're revoked or they're already sentenced before they come to us, and then they may have another pending felony charge that's out there or investigation that's pending. So they're already sentenced or revoked when they come to Tajita, and then there's oftentimes some other loose ends, essentially, or, felonies out of another state that they have detainers on. Yeah, great question. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you know how many peer specialists that have come through the program and have been able to get employment post incarceration?
I do not, because they typically don't release them to Cheetah. Yeah, they come to Cheetah and then they transition to minimum. But that is something that I could reach out and find out. Yeah.
Early on, you mentioned that we had some deep mental health situations.
Yeah.
There are not enough beds to find for those people.
So that we tend to do the referral process to like our social management unit. So that is on an ongoing basis. So if we had someone come in today that had very acute mental health, we place them on that unit. And individuals that have been working towards their treatment goals, and people that are ready to discharge from that program, can then return to GP. So we're kind of on a bed-to-bed transition. So we have people that on the special management unit for all different reasons. So sometimes people, we have a therapist that's on the unit that specializes in group tech therapy. So they work through their treatment goals and they discharge back to general population. But we always make it work, especially for those high acute cases, especially with safety concerns. Yeah. Yes.
What about medications and psychiatrists to provide medications? And people who are very high acuity and need medication that don't utilize medication.
Yeah, so if individuals, she asked about the high acuity and medications in psychiatry. We have a lot of psychiatrists. I would say most of our individuals that have a mental health need are also on medications. So they're seeing every like 4 to 12 weeks. Some people that are on commitments and involuntary medications. And then, the individuals that don't believe that we need medication, we increase the tolerance of monitoring. So mine got them, I meet with them more frequently than what's required. And then we always have a referral process for a psychiatrist, we're all on site. Yeah, yeah.
It has to be either complicated or already has help in the community side, that's what we do in the country. Is, does the cheetah, as we go and evaluating someone having. Evaluated and.
Yes. No, so if they're already on medication, they're automatically seen, and then we can report them for 72 hours, they'll see within 7 days by the psychiatrist. Well, thank you guys so much for your time. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're definitely always involving, and if we can make some connections, or you guys have services specifically for women in Milwaukee especially that would be helpful, please let me know so I can forward that along so we can kind of start having better connection and transitioning care with the community. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. And I think that first statistic that you shared with us was pretty shocking. 95% of people have died. I think there's a call to action to us from that statistic, right? Okay, so thank you again, Kristen. So we'll move on to Wisconsin Community Services. Now we have, I'm sorry, I'm going to the hub and spoke presentation. And we have Serchen White, certified care specialist and recovery coach. And we also have assistant director of community based peer support program at hub and spoke during Diamond. Returning, thank you very much.
Right, I'm actually certified specialist, and we're going to talk to you about the HubSpot program. The health program and mental health. The HubSpot program is for individuals with certain use and complex needs with mental health and substance use. Our goals for this meeting is to share about the HubSpot program, and what we do for the people in our community. So we identify the HubSpot program, the elements that make us community impact. We would like to hear this feedback, ask some questions, and make connections to build upon its current partnerships and continue to improve them. So HubSpot, our mission at WCS is to provide home services throughout Milwaukee County. We work with individuals 18 years and older who have at least one primary substance use disorder and other issues. We engage and connect individuals with services and all people who and so we really engage with others because the people that working on programs are because we're working on their recovery every day. And so it's easier, I think, for people to relate to us because we want to try to be hot. Not just so aspects. They see that here, and then we bridge together. So we don't support them with a basis like it's okay or we don't understand. We understand that we show up. We know the crisis that are not happening for 9 to 5. we understand price patterns at 7:55 and 5:05. And so we really understand that sometimes we have to get out of beds, right? We have to get out of our beds, stay night, Sunday night. Provide our recovery coaches and our peer specialists with the flexibility for this call us and say, hey, if I go out tonight and it's 5, that's my house. You provide them with that support, so they can call me and say, hey, I need to talk to my kids, to my psychiatrist tomorrow, and I need to support this person, and take them to the detox or to the hospital. And I'm gonna say, yeah, let's go to that, and then call me, we do them, so I can say, girl, okay. We provide them with that support, because it's very important. I'm accepting recovery is what they recover the violence and everything. And I know that it's very, very serious, very important. I'm tired of it. Right? There's things that you say, I understand. And I know all of this problem. Every place that you spoke about, I've been there. And I'm not ashamed of it because I believe that today, doesn't say that if you embrace me and trust me, you know that as part of the past, you know, that story that I share with the people that have started, you know, and I'm okay with it. When you bridge the gap and you share the story that I'm every day, I have been in those places and you know, every day you stuff it's possible to get to those things. And this is our God that was for me. And this is really deep. So that's what I'm so about. I'm sorry. All right, thank you. So how this go, my God, here, this is good. You know I'm recording now, right? Okay. Okay, good to go. So, we have folks around the Milwaukee area and, a great team. So, they bring me into this, however, they have supported me. So, we have partners everywhere. So, they have really supporting me to make all of the things. So we believe in having all providers, and connecting with it. So we believe in community services, we believe in full program, and we support our formula and connections of all of the resources. Because it's not just about mental health, it's about physical health, it's about clothing, it's about the environment. So we can't just work on one aspect of their life. We have to work on all of the aspects of their lives. In order to really have a healthy person. So we have to work on all of everything. And that's what we do. Connecting with everything, connecting with support. We have really broadened our vision and what we need to have a healthy person. Things that we didn't know that we were going to do at the beginning of something else is supposed to continue to broaden to really have a healthy sustainable approach. WCS approach, we develop a person-centered plan with everyone involved. So we didn't know what we're going to do, and we still going to keep broadening it. And so this program is exactly what the community needs. It's not about the community, it's about the community needs and what we're listening to the people. For the reduction, we have a vending machine in our building, in our office that they can get. So we don't have to ask them what they're doing, but we really can harm that so that they come in, they can go right to the vending machine. Because we don't really want to do it. However, the reality is that they're going to do it. So we to go and get whatever paperwork we need, things to fill out, they can go to the vending machine without them having to do it in front of them. We attend team meetings, and invite providers and they support us. We connect, we support, advocate, help problem solve, and we motivate them. We motivate them to be them for the little accomplishments. We motivate them and encourage them for the big accomplishments. We want to let them know that we're there for them, we see them, right? We see them for whatever it is that they do. We help with housing, transportation, food, clothing, other basic needs. We try to provide whatever it is that we have toilet paper. I mean, we have, hygiene needs, whatever it is that we provide them with, we're going to try to provide them. We navigate probation, parole, CPS, other sessions. We introduce the person to recovery communities across the city and the our team. We have 25 recovery navigators, sir. 15 of them are certified specialists. Our goal is to have all of them certified specialists. WCS, we are training, training. So we provide training to the will, so that's our goal. My goal is cutting scope enrollment as of 6/1/2024. We have 365 enrolled. Okay. We have 365 people enrolled, 1,010 enrollment since the program started in June 2024. The need reported, that paper number, they're very numbers.
My name is Eric. I'm a clinical social worker. I started at DCS, and I'm a project specialist. And one of my favorite things to do is to crunch numbers with stars. She says she doesn't like it, but she has to love it. And I'm just going to run through a couple of slides, share a little bit about the program. I did want to say though that Star, she's been on the program for a year now, and in the last year, the program's made remarkable strides. So I just wanted to call that out and bear some little bit Star on stage. So the needs are great. I mean, we have in a short amount of time, so a lot of people, when people come into the program, we have a dedicated enrollment team. Dedicated enrollment team meets the person wherever they are. They virtually at the house, and we ask a lot of basic questions right out of the gate. And what people are telling us is, first of all, everybody has a substance diagnosis, so you have to have the first aid rule. You also have that Medicaid, by the way, 75% of the people in our program report living on less than $1,000 a year. So you can imagine how great their needs are. 92% reported less than 20K a year. Housing, food, hunger, I should say, poor or fair physical health, and also what we call negative health days are prevalent with everybody that we're working with. So you can see right away, for the person center plan is going to be there's going to be a lot to do, and we're going to have to prioritize some things right away. Housing is one of the big issues that Star and her team work on, and that's always a challenge. And there's a return on health plan.
So the medical team is a specialized team that's a first training. So I'm saying that.
Great job, great job. Yep.
So the medical. Well, somebody in my. Okay, so then we think about it, because I have big kids, right? So they're grown. So this is why I do like this, and because this is a program that started after, became after our civil program. So that's why I really think this program, it started when it started. So it's a specialized team that for training people, and new parents and stuff with needs. So the goal is to address the need and to improve the outcomes. They also have a substance use, disorder. So our goal is to address the needs and improve health and the outcomes of the pregnant. Our growing team is compromised with certified peers who are also moms. So of course, when we started, when I started, there were no pregnant moms, right? So we had to find them. And so we, and the one, the young lady that started with me, we had to go out and find the moms who did. So I'm really, really proud. We found the moms, focused on needing medical and mental health substance use treatment of basically professional treatment on connecting to the first trimester, getting them to that and making sure that they meet those post-op in those and supporting them and getting them. And so it's been going really, really well. For the no drug use last band, for the just the outcomes have been great. Better mental health days, better physical health, alcohol use days, experience days. So you see the numbers. Just everything has been going really, really great with this program. We're getting them to those postpartum appointments. We're getting them in treatment. They're making those CPS appointments. They're having those babies and those babies are and being connected to them. And so it's a really good program. And we're seeing people stay connected with those babies and having healthy babies that are not using born. Brief addiction monitor. So it calculates how much they were using from the time we first met with them in the last 30 days. So we do that every month. So it calculates how much they use in the month, and then we do it the next month, and it tells us how much they would use from the month before to the next month. And so, yeah, it goes down. It goes down. So that's the form that we do every month, and you probably can't explain better.
I would say the pre-fiction monitor is a state requirement for the program, so STARS team does it at enrollment, and then we do it every month. The two slides, the one before this, it was not about the maternal health outcome. We didn't bring the maternal health data yet, because we only have a really small sample. The numbers are great, but it wasn't quite as large enough for us to bring. But the ban is a 17 item kind of, it's in the public domain, anyone can use it. And it measures use in the last 30 days, but it also has ways to measure risks and protective factors. So like income, spending time with people that are supportive of you, going to dating or self-help meeting. It asks everyone, what's happened over the last 30 days? Can you tell us? And so what we do is we do a simple pre and post. We take the enrollment band, and then we take the last band. The numbers here, this is a pretty large sample. So this is 563 people that provided 2 or more bands to us, and we looked at their pre and their post. And so we're pretty excited about these numbers. We want, of course, them to be perfect. But really large numbers of people are coming into the program, and then after spending time with STAR, their team, getting connected to services, getting help, well, it's not shocking to hear that they're having a lot more success. They're getting into and sustaining recovery. For the next slide, thank you so much. People are telling us, well, my mental health is better. I'm feeling better about my physical health. You know, as we mentioned, usage days are down. And then really exciting news, people are getting better connected with their families, friends. They're making events. That's what they want to do. They're volunteering, they're going back to school, they're getting jobs. 22% more time, spent doing this. So it's really exciting. Program really is working. I'm gonna let Star, finish up, but our next couple of steps for the program is really to grow. We are very excited about, expanding the maternal health piece. That's been incredibly successful, but small, project, and we want to make it up. So that's really, I know what Star's putting a lot of time and energy into right now, but also just across the town, we'd like to get more people. Today, yeah, absolutely.
I just wanted to ask if that program is for people that are connected with them yet, or that
It's,
it's the maybe other programs that you can use that.
yeah, they can be in other programs. I mean, the only thing we don't want to do is duplicate services, so there's other really awesome care coordination programs in the county. So it's kind of, you're getting a care coordinator here, so as long as it's not duplicative service, they could come in. Okay, so everyone finished.
Well, our partnership and supporters, the legal partnership funding referral to care and birth. And grant funding to support pregnant people and new partners and parents with substance need. Greater funding to support and embedded recovery. And funding to support and embedded recovery navigator in its support conflict. So we are having a lot of partnership with the County Health Program as well as the maternal health program. Milwaukee County funding through the Better Ways to Cope program. And so we have a lot of partnership. So we just want to recognize the need went out. They really support us with the maternal health program. And so we really want to just recognize. We really appreciate them. And I really appreciate them because like I said, Evans Local was already here, but for them to really, like I said, for the maternal health program started when I started with Evans Hope, and it's my baby. And so I feel from type of way that they've been putting a lot of funding into the maternal health program because I know that that's something that God really spearheading with that, and so I really appreciate that. So that is the maternal health and the soul program. So that's the question. I did leave some flyers somewhere. I don't know if they have. Question? So we've been working really closely with like Samant's house and Mayor House. Yeah, so if they do the work and if they trust us and do the treatment that they should be doing in their recovery, Mayor House have been putting them on the list and Mayor House have been providing, there is housing that they can get into, and WCS is working on something for housing.
Treatment. Set up for.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, UCC has housing for pregnant women, and then the house has housing for pregnant. And we have really good relationships with both of them. Yeah, I mean, there can always be more, there's always lots of things for me in, but, there can always be more.
So I did start that grade early. If I like lower, read every year. Yeah, yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, so if you, just repeat or summarize what was just said.
Prenatal here, after that version, like that. Mhm. Please, um, what was your dream? What was your dream of you need to put on the stage? Build. Some sort of build. What would you have done? Building or, I'm looking for the, another building for the kids. Yeah, yeah, not for me, no, not for me, yeah, maybe give me a raise, but not. Yeah, just another big building, maybe like another building, like a housing building, maybe with like 12 units. So the house, like 3 bedroom, apartments for women and kids. That would be my dream. Yeah, but I treat me. Thank you.
You could, context on that, or you seeing the need is at the entry after incarceration, or as an alternative for people that are not in this. But where are you seeing the need particularly for this housing activity?
Housing for women and kids. I think that kids, I think there's a need for women and kids in the house. Yeah, I think women and kids in housing there, that. Thank you so much.
And there's a new people over here, and, like I said, thank you, Ron and Star, with a great presentation. And now we get to take a little break. We're gonna have a meet and greet. We've got some infused water and some regular water. And we've got our board members from the Milwaukee County Health Board. And, we have a few board members of the transition, and the board members would like to stay and do that. Here. So, with that, please, I want to come else, initially, so yeah, Sarah's often, Sarah, Stan. Sarah is the coordinator, is that you know? The coordinator of the family liaison position there, housed at North America, Wisconsin. And that is the position that was developed out of the 2024 budget, after a recommendation that came up the last budget sessions. And it's been passed by items. So, so we're gonna just scratch the next till 4:30 people. We'll walk on this.
Okay.
So you can, we budget, oh, 1 second, so. What is here? Oh, we're out. And he's here, so you guys can talk to him as well. And so then the public comment of the finance committee, yes, presentation of the budget for the finance committee for the now board will start at 4:30. And then after that presentation will be a larger meeting with snacks and beverages. So stick around and hopefully some of you have some suggestions and we'll speak at the public comment. And thank you for joining us today and enjoy some beverages.
Girl, close your eyes, let the rhythm get into you. Don't try.
Thank you. No worries. I have space and love for you.
Are we on the camera? Not camera. Are we on the mic?
No, well, yes and no. So are we on mic? No. But that microphone, you know how we plug in? I directly really connect it to it. So I got a wireless transmitter sending me signal back, which is why if they talk into the mic, it's crystal clear, but if they don't, it's not.
Yeah.
And then these mics are like dynamic range mics, which means they go like this. That way it's no background noise. If they're not right up on the mic, you don't get it. I want to incorporate to our next passport meetings to come up and do a training for every person that speaks, so that if the person asks a question, the question is being repeated.
We should. It's great to see a beautiful day. And you. Just do a long time pocket. Well,
All right, I'll see y'all later.
I'm Kylie, I'm from Parks and Health. And then also I go to church with Mary, so we both go to. It was really informative. Yeah, definitely good. So we've had, so my pastor's worked with a lot of people individually throughout the years and nothing community. We officially started the prison ministry probably like end of 2023, beginning of 2023. But now we've been building relationships. A lot of things have been harder to get into. They said we already have all our religious programming for Protestant, what they're called, we're not denomination. But that's been one of the biggest issues. Otherwise, like things like somebody will say, we're getting in, and then they're probably not into it, and there's a lot going on. So right now we're in Milwaukee County Jail. We're working with CRC on transportation stuff. So, yeah, I'm talking to people now, just about doing pastoral and it's not actually going into services. Serchen said they didn't see opening right now. No, so just to do like religious services. Oh, I know. When I said they had a state job. And that's probably. I'm just. I think you could still have that. So, yeah, and I'm also trying to figure out how to word things in my initial email so that it doesn't get. So it gets from somebody that pays attention to what also. If you meeting with them, talk about the different things that guide, that we're not based Bible study or work therapy, we have like strong goal sessions, I have mental health and here tonight. Partnerships with different health. It's like getting in a more finding the right person. Okay, yeah, we're gonna see. Yeah, it's called a program. All the programs. Also, yeah. They really are the person responsible. That's like the main. Another thing, so we have. People are like, unfortunately, we don't think that way. We've had people become members of our church that way. So now, that's what we're saying, if you look at Castro, if it's like a member. So we talked about doing a membership at DVD and giving it to the chaplain, so that they can request to watch it. Some chaplains have been interested to that. Recently, the Foxley. One chaplain hasn't been responding. And then didn't get back to me. And then I reached out to the Muslim chaplain this past week and said they have all their Protestant and that they can. They don't have a way to show them but you're not. Yeah, so what I was told is that all Christianity gets put under as an umbrella term in the GLP. That's what so the whole headquarters, it's run by and they make all the policies. They have one for the witches. You have to go and not the charge of the prison. And then we got on a living practice. So it's funny because the Muslim chaplain was on that committee. So I don't know if we can talk to you about that situation. Committee. Shouldn't be the time. Yeah. I know that some of the positions, so some of the chaplains were like, they're them on the nature so that they can provide certain programs. And so I asked for a meeting to you talk about other opportunities here. And after he didn't respond to any of that himself, said the process about for DVDs and chapters. And so, yeah. Well, maybe it's better to go to the central office. Yeah, and that's another thing is we've heard from people Milwaukee, churches from Milwaukee, especially if it looks like that. My church, we're growing in diversity, but that's been the thing is that a lot of the churches are in these places have to do it. But people all need to want to see and you mentioned to chaplains. We do want to talk to them, but that's not beginning is like it's a little odd to me.
But, you know, it's needing you.
Thank you all. It's one thing. So we forward to this. My name is Richard. I work for the board. I'm chair of the meeting. We have copies of the agenda. Support the reference. And the sort of
I'm going to stand over here because it's such a large audience today. So thank you everyone for coming out, sticking around for the presentation of behavioral health services 2025 budget. So since we have such a large audience tonight, I think I'll just start by maybe giving a very brief overview about behavioral health services in general in Milwaukee County. Then we can jump a little bit more in details in the actual budget documents. So we don't have a copy of the budget, but I'll be walking through here. There are many copies available on that table here, the entrance, so please go grab them. So here is the behavioral health services division of Milwaukee County. This is our 2025 budget. Behavioral health services. Well, it says on the front page here, the mission is together creating healthy communities, and the vision is empowering safe and healthy community lives. So behavioral health services is the statutory provider of last resort for emergency mental health services in Milwaukee County. So Milwaukee County is required to fund mental health services in inpatient settings and at emergency center for individuals who are a danger to themselves or to others and have no other form of aid. Milwaukee County also provides many other community mental health services. The way the funding for those services primarily works in Milwaukee County and for most of the state of Wisconsin is the counties are authorized by the state Medicaid Services Division to provide community mental health services. And those services are funded by about 60% federal revenue from the federal Medicaid program. The remainder, that remaining 40%, it comes from the counties themselves. The state doesn't, the counties are required to provide services. The counties are required to fund that mostly through the local property and sales tax funding. So Milwaukee County, like most other counties in Wisconsin, has pretty strict limits on the amount of revenue that can be generated, the amount of taxes they can levy year over year. So what we've seen in recent years' budgets is that tax levy amount that we have available to us to be used as match for the federal funding is largely flat year. So with that, I'll jump into the budget here. The front page has a lot of numbers on it. Just walking through some of these at a very high level. Personnel costs are going up with this year's budget at $3.4 million. The majority of that increase is not from new positions, but from year-over-year increases in fringe and legacy pension costs. They get allocated to our central. Seeing a lot of increases in healthcare costs is for employee healthcare. That $400,000 that number is for 2% cost of living increase in staff, and we do have a net increase of 25 expected to more detail later on. Operating costs are going down $8.6 million. The majority of that increase is from changes in our youth mental health system care, the Milwaukee program. That $8.6 million doesn't necessarily represent an increase in services. It represents a change in how services are provided, including Milwaukee County Behavioral Health Services, the division of Milwaukee Child Protective Services, and children and family services. It's more of the details as the presentation. So just moving on to page number 2 here. As noted on the front page, we do have a slight increase in our tax levy allotment in 2025. However, most of that is going to cover the year-over-year changes in fringe benefits and healthcare cost increases. Moving down to the next bullet, our comprehensive community services program. We're happy to announce they're looking for a 5% rate increase to that program in 2025. However, the total expenses allocated to that program are actually increasing year over year. That program was starting to be a lot of that. Maybe since about 8 years ago, we were back in the program. We had some of the plateau in the program had been kind of an after effect of the pandemic, but in the past several years, we've really seen normal plateau around 16. So right size of the program, we're also increasing provider rates by 5%. We also have a $300,000 increase for medication services available to VHS consumers in the community, and a $300,000 increase for some of our lowest paid community-based residential facilities. We have 5 paid internship positions to enhance our workforce development program. And as I mentioned earlier, we're seeing some major changes in our youth system of care. So I guess it can be summarized in 2 ways. First, the wraparound Milwaukee program has an HMO. HMO is a funding source, one of many funding sources available for our youth mental health services. So we're ending that program. It was a multi-year decision to end that program as a result of changing regulations and just inability to no longer cost effective to maintain that program with the administrative burden being imposed upon it. So those services that had been done previously in the HMO are being shifted into crisis intervention services, comprehensive community services, and some of the services, as it's on front page, that $8 million decrease in total expenditures, those represent inpatient care that had been funded by the HMO. Those services would still be available to you, but they'll be funded through their new HMO or through Medicaid program. So those seniors will enroll in that program now will have a choice to either enroll in straight Medicaid or in another HMO. That new HMO will fund the remaining healthcare services. Wraparound Milwaukee also shifting its relationship with the division of Milwaukee Child Protective Services. In the past, Wraparound Milwaukee would facilitate and fund critical foster home placements. Again, that was funded through that HMO agreement. Wraparound no longer has access to that funding. So those services and coordination for those services were shifted to EACPS. Again, the services are still available to you, still be in our community in the same way that they were in 2024, that our 2024 funding mechanism is changing. Another challenge we had in the 2025 budget is patient revenue. So on the net, our patient revenue is looking at $3.4 million across all of our Medicaid programs. We're seeing a lot of disenrollments in Medicaid or participants in our program. So some of you in the room might remember that during the pandemic, the state rolled out, or actually the federal government rolled out some changes in how enrollment is considered for in Medicaid. Folks weren't required to re-enroll every year or prove their eligibility status in Medicaid prior to the pandemic. Those special ed are really rolled back in 2023. We had accounted for that in the 2024 budget by increasing our write-off rates to account for that. We're seeing a lot more disenrollment from Medicaid that we had predicted in the 2024 budget. So that's a $3.4 million impact on our revenue. To offset some of that, we're anticipating a $16 million increase in something that we hospital revenue. Year-over-year, crisis prevention programming has been increasing. Community services programming has been increasing, and with the sunset of the implementation, a lot of those services should continue to be crisis prevention, community services programming, and hospital program will be drawn down. Reimbursement for overhead costs for those programs that offsets rather than through the HMO. Lastly, we are requesting $1 million in DHS reserve funds to pilot for the housing program. This is intended to be a step down from the community-based residential facility with healthcare care. And recent conversations with finance committee and the board, we noted that there's really kind of a gap in our levels of care between independent clinics and our CDR programs. So this is meant to be bridge between those levels. Long term, we're anticipating that we can potentially move individuals from CDR care to this less restrictive, more independent, focused level of care that will be helping potential cost savings for, mental health services division from the capital reserve funds to initial pilot that SB. So moving on further down to the details here, now the budget that I just went over, high level is divided into 5 different sections. So on page 3, we have our management services division. Most of the costs in this area are actually allocated out to other direct service areas, overhead costs that we support on grants. The cost reports, major changes in this area, due to that change that I was earlier with rapid walking program, there were fiscal specialist positions and administrative coordinators that were housed within a wraparound program that now moved into management services to have a broader financial across the division. We're also adding a credentialing specialist and factors are based on when they were through a position. Two notes, we have the 5 paid internship positions budget here, but those aren't shown on the FTE counts on the charts front page because though we are paid interns, they're non-benefited positions, so we don't count this in our head. Next section are without emergency center inpatient charges section. So now that we've closed the hospital in 2022, we no longer operate our own inpatient services, but we do purchase inpatient services from burner facilities like Granite Hills and West Dallas and Winnebago and the Public Institute. We also are government partner of the Mental Health Emergency Center, about 50% operating loss of the Mental Health Emergency Center in partnership with the full private system. So financial what you're seeing on this page represent the anticipated payments for inpatient care.
Get online.
Settings and $5.7 million contribution to the Mental Health Emergency Center. At $5.7 million, about $300,000 less than the was in 2024 budget due to ongoing efficiency being realized at moving on to crisis intervention services. So this is our whole team, our crisis resource centers, crisis stabilization facilities, crisis transport team, transporting from the mental emergency center to other venues. So in this area, we're seeing $1.6 million increases in costs. Again, a lot of that is due to cost of living increases, healthcare pension costs. We are also seeing an increase in our interdepartmental costs here. So both of these changes in financial donor program changes that we're continuing to fund these services at current levels. There are some position adjustments. Creating a new peer specialist position and also eliminating some vacant position based on. Next is our community access to recovery services. This is our community adult system home care program. We can go ahead and jump over to page 10 and go through that area here quickly for you. So overall, expenditure increased by $1.1 million. Most of these changes are really just due to ongoing adjustments in utilization trends that we're seeing in comprehensive community services, community support program, our major programs. Really just basing our budget numbers on the number of enrolled individuals we're seeing today. So it's even meant to be an actual service that start to see more individuals follow these programs. We absolutely serve them. This budget really is meant to be an accurate reflection of what we believe our costs would be to come to as I mentioned earlier, we are including the 5% rate increase for CCS providers. Inflation continues to be a major problem in our network of care. We've really been trying to address this globally, but unfortunately, the budget constraints, we can only provide increases for certain provider groups each budget. So I think 2 years ago, we provided an increase for crisis intervention providers. Last year, we had an increase in community support program providers. Whereas now we're including an increase for CCS. Our CSP expenses are increasing by $1.7 million. Again, it's not services, this is just a reflection of ongoing spending in this level of care. Is revenue in that program is adjusted accordingly. Our AODA or alcohol related drug use services or costs are increased by approximately $600,000, primarily in our bridge housing services and recovery support coordination services. Again, that's just based on what we're seeing right now, the current trends. Seeing a pretty large increase in the need for bridge housing services. As I mentioned earlier, we have $1 million for supported apartment pilot program, $300,000 for increased pharmacy costs for medication availability in the community, $300,000 for increases for community-based residential facilities. Jim mentioned that does funding the community family resource liaison position that was funded through amendment from the mental health board in last year's budget. So something that is continued increase some various personnel adjustments. So lastly, we have our youth services program area. I spoke a little bit on the first page of the narrative, but again, pretty major funding shift in this level here. What we're really trying to do is have the little of an impact as possible in the actual receiving services. So we will have the same services available to them, but the funding for those services, who is funding those services is different in 2025. So we're shifting wraparound Milwaukee program really to focus on comprehensive community services, crisis intervention services, facilitating group home and ICSF placements, while at the same time, the facilitation of residential care center placements will be shifted to the Division of Milwaukee Child Protective Services and to the DHHS Children and Family Services. So with that, comprehensive community services, specifically, spending is increasing by $11.9 million. With the add after more programs living on the TCS in 2025. We also have a substantial increase in our crisis intervention costs. Again, as a new level of care for our youth system. So that's really the budget in a nutshell. I guess I just want to reiterate that this was a very difficult budget year, a surprisingly difficult budget year. We came off of 2023 with a $6 million surplus. We have about $40 million in reserves between our general VHS operating reserve and the wraparound youth specific reserve fund. That said, we're seeing a profound amount of Medicaid disenrollment, or at least a much higher than anticipated amount of Medicaid disenrollment right now on the network. So I would stress that these revenue numbers are optimistic. Hopefully that we can identify some of the issues that we're seeing with Medicaid disenrollments and kind of turn that trend around in 2025. However, if the current trends that we're seeing continue, very likely that we could be in a deficit situation in 2025, which rely on. So that concludes my overview of the 2025 budget. Thank you for sitting patiently and listening to my presentation. I think there's another, that's for
We will now entertain public comment for the budget.
Okay, first person is Sandy Schultz. Well, I want to just say thank you to everybody for all the time you come in. I have something I just want to read, it's better for people. Second, 2023, a 50-year-old elderly man shot a 75-year-old mother. I would like to read the reaction on the West Dallas Police Department as reported on the Rock 6 website on December 4th. Quote, the city of West Dallas extends its sympathies to the family involved in the tragic deaths that occurred this past Saturday. The West Dallas Police Department has had numerous contacts with the deceased male and his family over the course of the last 2 years. Many of these contacts resulted from complaints from residents in the area. It's understandable why some neighbors may believe nothing has been done because they had to deal with the consequences of the mental health system that has failed the deceased individual, his family, and neighbors. Milwaukee County has the authority to act under the mental health care laws of Wisconsin. The city does not. Nonetheless, this particular situation was so significant that the West Dallas Police Department, City Attorney's Office, and Mayor Devine worked together and engaged extensively with the deceased person, his family, the District Attorney's Office in Milwaukee County. This has included traditional law enforcement methods such as arrests and referral to a criminal charges, but also attempts to get the deceased man off the medical treatment. Just 3 weeks ago, the city and the District Attorney's Office worked cooperatively to obtain an order to for reasons unknown, the Mental Health Emergency Center released him shortly after he was admitted. Sadly, the current state of the mental health system led to a situation where he did not receive adequate care. The tragic events of this past Saturday could have been prevented, and the city did everything within its authority and more to try to prevent it. I realize this is a really severe and difficult case, but families are usually extremely sympathetic and additional family members in crisis every day. These are frustrated, families are often terrified and very worried about their loved ones. Since privatization, many visiting or involuntary patients have had opportunity to treatment. Private hospitals in Milwaukee County do not take them, and it used to be this way. And it has been 6 months since this incident. I would like to know if anything has been done to improve the situation at the Mental Health Emergency Center for high acuity and involuntary patients. And also, what we as family members and I'm part of a group called United Advocates for Mental Illness Treatment Reform, and we would really like to help. And so, direct us to, we can meet with our representatives, and maybe some other things that I haven't thought of yet. So, I would really like to know what we can do to help. Thank you. The next speaker is Nicole Valano.
I'm so angry with this. My name is Nicole Valano. I am one of the coaches of the mental health task force. I am here to represent them. I come here and I came to the Milwaukee task force as a teacher. But I'm also a service provider and work with pregnant folks with disabilities. So I want to say that as a person with mental health issues, I have a whole heck of a lot of privileges. I've stayed in housing, I have employment, I have family. I always had health insurance, even if I couldn't pay all of it. So when I think about the things that
the folks that I would encounter most often, the things that really impact their success is having unstable housing, unstable food sources, unstable income, being underinsured or uninsured. And I imagine my life as what it would be like without all the privileges I've had. And I've seen so many people that come through the organization that I work that don't have those things, and they're receiving or using programs like CCS, like our targeted case management or community support programs, the substance use residential and bridge programs. And some of them have great success with it. And I know somebody now who has a year of recovery, working with one of the residential bridge programs. So I'm really excited for her. I'm excited where her things. But I also have folks that have case management, and because service providers are not able to staff at a reasonable amount, these individuals are trying desperately to get in contact with them, or really trying as best they can with the phone service, the places to live, to get in contact with folks. And it's really hard. And I will say, as a service provider, I'm one of those people. I've got a lot of folks that I serve. And sometimes it's a week before I can get to one else. Sometimes I don't see it even. And that's someone's life. And I, living in the middle of this and then working with folks with disabilities and mental health and substance disorders, there are times when I have to go into crisis because I can't serve these people well. And I have a caseload that is unmanageable. So we really appreciate that you have increased the funding to CCS, and that in previous years that increasing funding to targeted case management, but I would say it's not enough. It's not enough, and we are drowning as service providers, and as a person who has those supports, I can only imagine what it's like not to have those supports. I have a wife who's a social worker. She's my built-in social worker. I just get denied a prescription that I absolutely need by a new health insurance agency. And she's a social worker, so she knew there was a copay card. She knew where to go to every pharmacy. And that's what case managers and these programs help people do. If I can have my wife, well, don't be on the road all that long time. That's just good for that. So we need those folks. And then just to go along with that, there's a lot of value to individuals that aren't going through bachelor's programs, master's programs, getting their doctorate. We have lots of those with lived experience, and so we are really thankful for the funding increase that you have provided this year to make those programs more robust, to increase the training. But there are still a lot of folks out there that have a lot of good experience who can fill in the gaps for the service providers that are required to have that extra education. And it's so tough to get into those training programs. I don't know if you've ever talked to somebody who's trying to go through that process, but they only accept 50 applications. There's maybe 4 training sessions a year, 50 applications. Goes down to 25 candidates who actually get interviewed, and then maybe 20 people get accepted into that training program, and then how many people pass that? And I just have so many people in the disability community who would be amazing certified training specialists. They just don't have the opportunity to do that. The accommodations are really hard to get. It's really hard to work through that. I would venture to say, do you really need a GED? I'm not sure. And a lot of folks who have disabilities for some reason or another, weren't able to get that. That level of training would still be magnificent peer specialists. So, again, I appreciate the funding that we have done for certified peer specialist, training to increase that. And I know it's money, I know, they want to make all the changes and spend money and everything, and hire everybody, and we totally do that, so I understand you're in a tough position. I would really hope that you would consider, looking at that reimbursement rate for those programs.
Thank you. The third speaker will be Tracy Porter.
Good afternoon, my name is Tracy Porter, and I am the Chief Legal Services Officer with Beta House in Milwaukee. Beta House provides continuous services to women recovering from substance use disorders, ranging from our most intensive residential treatment to our recovery housing and outpatient program. Beta House has been providing care to women and children for 61 years. We're really excited to embark on Project Horizon, which is a new construction and growth strategy that will double our capacity for the last 35 years. I'm here today, I don't know if my time is off, but I'm here to request your consideration of two things. That's great. The first one is to continue on moving forward, and second, to consider increasing the rate. As for notes, the Medicaid benefit rolled out in early 2021, paying for substance use disorder services. Once that happened, towns began paying for the reward, and we definitely appreciated that. And Milwaukee County has the ability to create funds for the renewal. It passed those funds through the programs like ours, recognizing that it did not have reputable care. That daily movement board rate for both adults and children has been set at $53 a day since sometime in 2022. Just as a point of reference, we serve the entire state and a lot of the counties that we serve. They pay about double that daily rate, which is still insufficient to cover the costs, especially for women who have children on site with the residential treatment program. This piece of our work is critical for our mission and is one of the main aspects of our care that supports women in their recovery as well as child well-being. We launched our bridge housing and the rates were revisited in 2022 in response to the increased costs in housing, and we thank you for that. Since then, however, labor costs and almost all other costs have risen significantly. Most every level workers will not consider a position paying less than our maximum expense or maximum salary was just 2 years ago. And it is imperative that we hire and retain skilled workers for continuity, quality, and care. We are truly competing with ourselves for the workforce that's now demanding 24-hour care facilities. Additionally, we've experienced a significant increase in current compliance with high acuity mental health needs in combination with extreme lethality of substances available to our communities. And we have to adjust by staffing up all shifts, all positions, just to maintain safety and community. So while the cost for providers to provide high quality service has increased, reimbursement rates, as you know, have stayed flat. We estimate that even with Medicaid and using board reimbursement, we experience a shortfall of expenses of around $125 per person per day, for about $1.6 million per year that we must secure from other sources, such as private philanthropy, state and federal grants, which is helpful, but none of these are guaranteed or sustained. The third request, so that was 2 requests, more than one. The third one is to consider moving more boldly with the opioid self-ballot opportunity. We're grateful the town will release an opportunity for capacity expansion for which may also apply. This more funding available for potential the grant we applied for aimed at building treatment capacity for Milwaukee County residents was for $300,000, which probably not is hardly enough for most agencies, including ours, to be able to effectively extend capacity, even if provided as a 10-year opportunities. True expansion and long-lasting impact of capital investments in staff and operational investments, which are typically do in smaller increments. So I thank you for your time, and commitment to supporting Valley mental health and substance use.
The next speaker will be Sheila Stanhouse.
I just want to say I didn't prepare anything, but I feel compelled to speak. I have a personal story that is heartbreaking, and I want to just sort of say I'm in agreement with the other speakers in many ways, and the needs are greater than you can imagine for all clientele, women, children. As you know, the homeless population is out of control. Milwaukee is doing things to make that better, but it's still really. My brother suffered from mental illness from the age of 25 until last August when he passed away at the age of 57. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenic only by accident because he left home. He lived with my parents for a life, left home in California. Was picked up at LAX airport, wandering, disheveled, confused. And they took him to the UCLA Medical Center where they diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic. He didn't understand. And told him never did alcohol and never smoked a cigarette. And my mother, our mother, had a life-threatening illness, which I think was a trigger for him. I am bigger than the movie A Beautiful Mind, and I think there's similarities there with my brother that my mother's near-death experience and 7 months in a hospital after 2 brain aneurysms and a hospital-acquired infection. This is she lived, which was great, but he was very close to her. We were living mom and dad. I was already out of the house. He was still living at sick. My father was still working. He worked. He'd go to my mother at the hospital, and then after she was released to the nursing home, he'd go visit her there. My dad came home from work one day, and he was out in the house, and really was outside. And on the other side, your brother's not drugs. And said, no, I believe that that's a sign of mental illness. He never heard of drugs, he's never smoked a cigarette, he's vehemently against any substance. Within a week that continued, and then he left the house. We tried to simply get him some help, some intervention, was not to be, we left, so then he ended up in California, and long story short, kind of a good thing that he was diagnosed out there. And then back here, we tried to get my brother help. We were successful in doing the 3-party petition, which he was he was for 50 minutes, but that only lasted so long. He was in a group home. We justified to say there's nothing wrong with me. I need to be released. He thought he wanted. He was released to the street with nowhere to go. So he was homeless. He was living under the roof over at Startina University in the winter. And that's kind of not people looking for him, to help him. It was impossible. Fast forward, years and years went by, and they tried to help him, and they couldn't. My parents passed away 3 months apart. James did an article about me searching for her, and she can't stop looking for her brother. So parents, I promised my parents I would take care of her, look after them, and I didn't see us. Then he had a part-time job, but he was still suffering from serious mental illness. He got a room in a disheveled rooming house, which was despicable, on the east side. He was living there, I was in crisis. I tried multiple times to get the crisis team to intervene. I said, my brother is really bad. We need to help him. He's gonna die if we don't get him some help. They tried multiple times to talk to the landlord, to be let into the building to see my brother. And the landlord said, yes, I'll meet the crisis intervention team there. And he stood up twice. Fast forward a number of weeks, I was despondent and knew that if he doesn't get help, he's gonna die. It was August of last year, and then I called his police, and they told me that my brother was dead. He was found in his room, in his rooming house on the east side. He had been dead for a couple weeks. There was man there, it's not a room home, it's just a rooming house. Anybody could live there, some people had diagnosis, some people didn't, some people had problems. My brother tried to look for a second job, tried to pay, he couldn't, he reach out to me, sometimes I helped him. But I knew he was so bad that he didn't get help, he was gonna die, and he did. He died, and they, no way of knowing what caused his death, because he was there. Decomposing for 2 weeks in the summer, in August, with air conditioning, and it's horrific. So, I'm not the only one that's been through something like this. It's now a mission that I need to help prevent this from happening to people. It's just, it's heartbreaking, and, there's a lot of different services that are great, but when they fail, and you have a perfect catastrophe, it's heartbreaking, so my parents are gone, my brother's gone, that's my family, that's me now. And I have to do something to try to make it better for people, and people that are, in crisis, whether they're on the streets, whether they're in a deplorable rooming house, whether they're trying to work, whether they're in denial about their mental health. It's really a horrible situation. And what's the solution? I don't know, I'm just saying, and I'm here with Nani, and the admired group. Nani helped me a lot to deal with what I've been dealing with. And I went to some of the Nani classes before my brother died. No hurt, I don't have a background in mental health. I have a background in facility design. So anyway, I'm grateful for Nani and all they do to educate the public. And I'm grateful for all you guys are trying to do. And I'm just saying that there's still some heartbreaking stories out there that we need to try to address. Homeless people and getting supportive housing, and maybe my brother to get insurance again. So anyway, you get it. So thank you.
Next speaker is Startina Apple.
Everybody, thank you. My name is Christine. I'm here tonight, it's after 5, speaking on behalf of myself. I'm a private citizen and a taxpayer of the county. So I also have people in my family's lived experience, and we've attempted to get services in this county. What I'm here to advocate for those just a few things. I want to say thank you because I say a few things and I heard he said. One is that you have I have the special when someone gets services in the facility, there's a family member can call or interact with somehow. That's key. I think it's really tough. I'm in the mental health field, that's my trade, and I think it's incredibly hard to understand the system, just how it works. And again, like Paul said, I have the privilege of, I guess, pretending to help, but so having that, I would say a boundary span is what I would call it. I would say thank you for having the 4 internship positions. I think that's really important. I'm here to advocate for the National Health Service Corps. You never know where life's going to take you, where you find your passion. So if you don't have that yet, the National Health Service Corps is a student loan repayment program. Maybe you have it, but if you don't, they also have a scholarship program for people in the healthcare professions. I was a member of the National Health Service Corps. I worked with the underserved population, and I did my contract, I think 4 years, but I'm here 24 years later. So I did found my passion for it. It's a wonderful, now we have the public health service program, but the National Health Service Corps is better. And I believe you qualify, especially with some of your staffing ratios. I would advocate as well for the boundary spanner that you have in the Milwaukee County Jail. I don't want to mention that. But having someone there to act as a liaison between the county health services and the jail, which is a rural facility, is helpful. You can tell I'm a fan of volunteer status. I just don't think people get it. If you're not in these systems, it's like you need a lot for you to actually understand what happens in the mental health world, what happens in the criminal justice world. And it's hard to advocate if you don't have someone you can talk to help you through that process or to help you understand what your loved one's going through. So volunteer spanners are great. What I would also advocate for is, I'm more jail focused, but you know, I heard that people are waiting and in the jail waiting to get into programming. Maybe if you have more of those services in the jail too, when they're waiting to get services. And that's all I have. Thank you for all you do.
The next speaker is Curtis. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Curtis, and I'm here, I'm a member of the task force, and I'm here basically representing myself in the task force. And being very honest about it, I don't think there's anyone at our table or in this audience that hasn't heard what I have to say. Black men are suffering. Black men are dealing with trauma. I have my lived experience with mental health, and I'm very fortunate and blessed that I have the resources to take care of them. But as one of the founding members of the Milwaukee Poverty Initiative, as a person that retired after 31 years in public health, working as a health equity strategist, understanding how mental health really affects mental health overall, particularly for Black men. The center of room, here Black men continually talk about how they have mental health and they don't know how to deal with it. Black men feel like there's no resources for them. Black men feel like they are rendered invisible and marginalized, and no one gives them about it. And they talk about how the mental health does really impact themselves, their families, their children, their wives, just their everyday lives. And Black men are hurt, Black men are suffering, because they feel like no one cares about them, and no one cares about the trauma that they deal with every day. Black men have this historical trauma, and we've been in the circles with men and we talk about that, right? And we talk about, historical trauma, we talk about ageless. It's a very, very thing to hear to see Black men just break down and cry and say, that's what's wrong with me. And then we say, no, that's not what's wrong with you, that is what happened to you. And they understand they need to heal. They need to heal. And again, it's traumatic to sit there and see a grown Black man that wants to do the right thing, that can't understand why he can't do the right thing, because he's got a trauma. And then when they seek out mental health services, there's no funds, there's no programs, the resources are minimal. And as they call us back, come back in 6 months, 9 months, what is that going to do for them? What is that going to do for them at that moment? And we talk about how bad it is in Black men, the crime, the robbing, and this and that, but we still do anything to help these men heal from their trauma. For me, myself, I can get it. I have sought out trauma-informed care professionals. And I've been traumatized because the person says they do trauma-informed care, and I'm pretty intelligent, I can research and I know. You don't know a thing about trauma-informed care, about how to treat me, the person they ask me, and how to respond to me. You may know the principles of trauma-informed care, but you're not doing it. So yeah, do I sound mad? I'm mad, I'm passionate, I'm all of that. So if you really want to get a handle on what men or Black men are dealing with, I would encourage you to go to some of these 500 groups, to go to Father Making Progress, to go to Black Men Healing, and to sit there and listen and see what these Black men are going through. You say that Black men don't care about themselves and their families? Maybe they don't know how, because maybe they're still dealing with some trauma thing. Maybe they have real experiences that they're still dealing with as adult men. So I encourage the board, I encourage everyone here in this room, You really think about that. Think about how black men are suffering and how that trickles down. I call it trickle down trauma. And what can we do in Milwaukee? What can we do in Milwaukee County to raise awareness about that? To help this man to heal from the trauma. It's crazy. We see all the resources out there that are going toward other programs, but yet what's underpinning all of that is the trauma and the mental health. I can traumatize just by going to a healthcare institution to seek care. They take me in there, they lock the room, take the keys in the home, because it's going to be great. That in itself is trauma. I've been traumatized and I went to a hospital screaming. And you have someone sitting at the desk asking questions to check. And I ask them, well, what do you call patients to ask me these questions? Well, you know, I'm sure asking questions, and I'm checking this, and I pass it off to a counselor, and we'll see where you are. Really? I'm traumatized just by that. How can you sit there and ask me all of these questions for an hour, and you aren't even trained as a mental health specialist? That's re-traumatizing me. I got to walk out and take my keys and my phone. Well, we don't think you should be. Why? Because I'm asking questions, I'm challenging you. You think I'm correcting myself, my family? No. You just re-traumatized me. I want no parts of this. So think about that. Think about when you walk in the front door of an institution. You can traumatize right there. Right in the front lot, just by how they react to you and how they treat you. So again, I was here a couple of years ago. I'm back today with the same message. And I'll be back next year with the same message, or whatever it needs to be taught. But black men need to be heard, they need to be understood, and black men need to be healed. Thank you.
Next speaker will be Montreal King.
Used to be a teacher, but I don't talk to somebody about that. Man, I'm gonna start off by saying, I do believe there is no wrong. When I came to this facility today, I had never been anywhere outside of this room. So I ventured down onto the bathroom, and I saw athletic gym. And I saw a shuffle room. I saw a music room with a grand piano, and I should listen to other instruments. And I found out who ran this place, and I said, hey, how can I volunteer? The reason why I did that is because there's an aging population of folks who deserve to have enrichment services, who deserve to have mindfulness experiences. And my heart has always been there. At the age of 5 years old, I was measuring the diabetes medicine my grandma passed. And I was hitting the needle and getting the alcohol wipes and the swab, and I was wiping his arm, and I would give him his medicine every single day. And he told me that I was doing right. But when I came into this place, then I talked to the staff and said, we have 4 other locations like that. Last night I went to the YMCA out in Waukesha, and I was playing basketball, and I saw all these flags, and it was like this donor and that donor, this donor. This morning I went to the hospital with my wife, and that's very respected, and I looked at the bricks on the ground. I saw this donor and that donor. But the reality is, I just don't know the steps of how to really get the people behind you the way I've seen these organizations do it. I was here 2 Februarys ago. I had 26 people here. Now I bought 14 people that gave public comment. And I'm really green because they're not saying anything. I didn't want to say get out of the but I really was like, what is the process? Like after you say these things, and you give public testimony, is there a call to action? Is there a set of steps? Is there a follow-up? Hey, we heard what you said, here's what we're doing about it. And so I'm up here to encourage you. I didn't catch the lady's name in the green blazer, but I'm not y'all, you come work with us, try to figure some stuff out over here. And when I heard her story, I'm like, man, that's my reality every day. Since the last time I saw you all, I've invested $126,000 in my own money
My organization, Mirror Cares, has prevented over 14 suicides. In just 2 last weeks, we graduated youth who struggle, like, they think they're gonna fail. And, you know, I need my GED, and this is too much pressure, so I'm gonna risk it all. And I know what it's like to be in a position of leadership, and you're constantly getting fearless feedback. People are constantly saying the worst things, but I'm gonna encourage you all to advertise your wins, like this facility. Because just like me, there's a lot of people that don't know the story. I left my Out of Crisis book, but if you go to my website, mirrorcares.com, most of the research I got out of I read a book like 4 or 5 years ago. But people aren't reading books anymore. So what the digital platform looks like? Where are the QR codes? Where are the moments where people can actually figure out, you know what? I called 211, I called 988. But are we actually putting out messaging on coaching individuals to tell them this is what you say? Because when they call those numbers, they call mobile crisis, then they call Mirror. We gotta tell them, hey, was your loved one in imminent danger to themselves or anyone else? Well, right now they're okay. I'm like, sorry, you know, it's not a whole lot that can happen. I don't want to keep saying it. I think there's a whole lot that can happen. We've used assistive technology like Apple Watches and Samsung watches to prevent these crises. We've been able to understand where your heart rate is when you're walking, resting, and working out, and more specifically, what are the stress indicators in between. We understand what the annual triggers are. Did you lose a loved one? Is this that time of year or that season or that fragrance or that Glade plug-in that just makes you feel a little down, right? And then with evidence-based research backed by science, we started to use music and prescribe music to lower depression, anxiety, and heart. But when I tell you, we've been extremely successful. We can reach more people with your support. I'm not here to advocate for you. I'm here to tell you all, show your victories, create a direct pathway, right? Create some user stories and experience. Hey, maybe you're dealing with this. Maybe you're dealing with that. Last February, I helped write the press release for the city of Milwaukee 911 is no joke campaign. And I told them, this is a joke. We have to redo it. It's not inclusive. Did you reach out to the county? Did you reach out to the fire department? Did you reach out to these organizations? You need to try some gamification. Maybe ask all of these different departments that maybe can't afford to do a full campaign to just post on their social media pages. To see if you can get these icons and these memes and these graphics out 14 days straight in a row. And I'm saying that to you all because I see the billboards. I see, you know, the buses with the signs, the better ways to cope. There's some great things that's happening, but if a tree falls on the forest, it may sound no one was around here. So we gotta get the word out about what's going on. We have to uplift our partners. We have to be intentional about saying we have an array of services. We have culturally competent programming because I had the privilege from September of 2023 up until April of 2024 of volunteering at one of the county facilities at the youth detention facility. I was able to work with young people inside of there, have little conversations and find out they don't know what trauma is. They don't know what triggers are. They don't know the difference between a psychologist or a psychiatrist. And so we can't add more services, can we at least educate the general public? I believe that this is a very diverse group of people that has individual thoughts, different priorities, but the same goal. And the goal is to make this the healthiest county in Wisconsin. In order to do that, there's an African proverb that says, if you want to travel fast, travel alone. If you want to travel far, travel together. And just know that our organization here, we're here to support. We don't have funding. We're not asking for funding. I don't know how y'all funding my sisters. I don't know. I have to remain encouraged to stand warm. I have to remain encouraged to keep fighting with no money, going out to these crisis calls, but I also realize I gotta pray, ask God for the resources. I don't know how y'all get down, so I have not got down with this. So I'm hoping that sometime in the near future, you guys start looking at a broader scope. If you go to Mirror Cares /help, there's a bunch of organizations that are doing this work. There's a bunch of organizations on there that literally have inroad into the community, they have lived experience, they have peer specialists, it's not just me, it's a bunch of us out here, so keep up the good work, all right? If that lady doesn't get a call and come in on the trip, check on her, send her some flowers, you know what I mean? Like, you could go to Julasco and get a couple of flowers, but just keep it in the connection because it's difficult. And I'm glad y'all somehow, that was painful, like, you're listening to me. Oh, man, what are the next steps? So keep doing the work that you're doing. Thank you for volunteering. I am truly sorry about the loss that you've experienced. And I'm grateful for your testimony that you shared in front of us, because a lot of people couldn't have gotten here themselves. That was very personal. So thank you for that. Have a good afternoon.
Repeat your Kathleen Vincent.
Good afternoon, I'm Milwaukee County Supervisor Kathleen Kristen. I'll be sitting up here and just, maybe for the short a year ago, I think now. I'm entering my second term on the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors. I'm not getting into all of my personal, but as I shared with this body before, I've had my own personal struggles with mental illness and have lived experience as well. And I'm trying to use my platform as a county supervisor to help elevate the voice of those that cannot always stand up for themselves. As we know, as a board, we separated off from the county board several years ago. Act 203. So it's Act 203, where the county still does the funding, and I just heard our last speaker talk about being the healthiest county in Milwaukee County, and that is my goal as a county supervisor. Want to make sure that we have the healthiest county in the state of Wisconsin. And I do apologize, I wasn't here for your budget. I'm actually a school teacher, just finishing my last week of this year, and then I'll be full-time county supervisor all summer. But I apologize, I missed the budget. I'm just kind of looking it over as I'm sitting there. I don't think there's enough funding for all the needs that we have, and I think you know that are covered. My concern is there is a disconnect, and I've heard several speakers talk today in terms of the Admire group and some of the other individuals that have spoken, just with their struggles with the health system, the mental health system in particular. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it after 2 years of serving on the board. I've made a couple of trips to Granite Hills. I've been to all of the correctional facilities where at least 40% of the individuals there are struggling with mental health. I've been to the juvenile justice facility, and as a county supervisor, I want to be able to do more. So I'm coming before you to ask that we try to connect again with the county board and the mental health board. I don't think we will become the healthiest county in the state of Wisconsin if there is that kind of a disconnect. I do consider Mary and Shirley be personal friends of mine, and Shirley actually helped me gain the confidence to go public with my own story last year. And I want to use my experience to help others and to work with this board. So it's really important to me and to, I think, my fellow supervisors who unanimously supported 2 of my resolutions last year for Mental Health Awareness Month and funding for our schools. As I said, I'm a teacher. I'm very passionate about our students and their health needs. And so I just basically am coming before you to ask that we somehow bridge this gap. I know sometimes our meetings actually are at the exact same time, and that makes it hard for county supervisors to engage in the conversations that we're all having here at the table. And so with that, I don't have a magic solution. I know for every story we heard here today, there are probably hundreds of more stories like that and more. And one of my ones with the homeless outreach this past year just spoke volumes about, the lack of care for individuals that are just laying out on the street every day trying to survive. And in many cases, I know that mental health is involved in that too. So I just reached out to you. I know I've got to connect to something that work there. I want to make sure that our resources are going to their full potential. I just recognize the mental health emergency center as our baby for mental
Yes,
health
it is.
this month. They have serviced over 7,000 people in their first year and a half, and I think that's just incredible. So that is telling you how many problems there are out there, and we probably need more resources. And so with that being said, just coming up here today and saying, still here, I'm not gonna go away, and I would love to tour Granite Hills again to see, you know, are we serving all the individuals that are coming through the doors, or is there more we can be doing? Since the mental health complex closed, to some people that closed the door. I think that they, you know, that we are trying to go community based, but we have to make sure that we still have a place for those individuals that are struggling the most. So I thank you for all you do. It's a monumental task in front of you. I have no doubt that every one of you sitting at this table cares, and that's why you're here. And I care too. So I'm hopeful we can find ways to connect the county board with the mental health board. We don't need an act to tell us we're two separate entities, because we're all one county, we're all one state, we're all one nation. So I'm here to just say that we need to do more. So thank you for your time today.
Next speaker is Greg Schultz. So far, somebody who's still not having this speak.
Well, I really appreciate you folks do. You get to listen to a lot of hard stories and speak about a lot of frustration. There's about 1 million people that are served here in Milwaukee. 1% of them has schizophrenia, 1% bipolar, 4.4% of them have clinical severe depression. 64,000 people in our county. That's what you're talking about, sir. I'm with the Admire group. There's about 8 of us here at conference, which are stand for advocates for mental health treatment reform. And we focus on the most severe people. So of those 64,000 people, I don't know the number, but some of them are in crisis. There's always some crisis. And the reason I wanted to address the group today has to do with measuring your results. You're spending millions and millions of dollars, and you get feedback from the agencies that you work with, and you get feedback from your own employees, the people that staff the county services. I have not seen reports on these next 4 items, but yet I've heard a lot about them. Last year, as we at Admire, people get released from the mental health facilities on their own condition. They say, even though they're in the crisis, even though they have conclusions, they say, I'll go get treatment. I'll take care of myself. There's instant release, even though they're in terrible crisis and really can't even understand their own situation. They're released because there's a lack of beds. They may need care. The psychiatrist evaluate them and want them to get care, but they don't get care because there's a lack of beds. People don't get care because the facilities are unwilling to take them because of the acuity of their care. They're having such a bad time because of their mental health condition, their delusions, their irrational thinking, their behavior. They're so acute that the people who are designated to take care of them are not accepted. I was having a heart attack and I went to a cardiac hospital and was told I was delusional. people get released to the street. I'm asking you to get informed about these type of activities, these type of outcomes, these are outcomes. Released on your own volition, released because it's kind of bad for you, released because you're too few, or being released. These people are probably within a statistic of released at home. And I've heard, I don't know exactly where, as much as 80% of the people coming into the system released at home. Very frustrating because I don't know how that. They're being treated for a mental health condition, a medical condition. There are different rules that prevent the facility from informing the family whether the person is there in the first place or whether they're being released. How can you be released at home when home doesn't even know? So I want to encourage you to dig deeper into the outcomes that are being reported. Released at home. Thank you.
Leah Lipinski.
State with a high overview of the budget. Thank you for taking our virtual improvements into account to help prepare funding priorities for 2025. Also, I'm glad to hear that you did a staff survey to help determine funding priorities as well. I look forward to meeting with community and family resource liaison someday and really hope that this will be a great resource for families. I like the 2025 budget with its emphasis and initiatives listed, especially putting funds into a supportive living pilot. I wonder if it could have helped my sister recently, or maybe that CDRO. I haven't learned about that. And I wonder how this is all different or the same as the Milwaukee County's website stating its philosophy of housing first. I'm going to quote what's on the website. The Milwaukee County Housing First philosophy provides housing to those most in need without precondition. This is because they have found, or we have found, the most vulnerable in our community can only solve one life-changing problem at a time. When you are living outside without a roof over your head or knowing where your next meal will come from, that instantly becomes your most important problem. Demanding the chronically homeless demonstrate sobriety, a clean bill of mental health, employment, or anything else is, from what we have seen, is the cart before the horse. However, when we remove that housing problem, suddenly the next problem facing that individual becomes most important. Whether it be starting the road to recovery from undiagnosed mental health problems or substance abuse. Moreover, Milwaukee County Housing First saves a lot of money. End quote. When I read that this summer, trying to help my sister with her fairly mental illness, I thought, oh, great, there's so much to go. It was really hard to even get any of that happen. It didn't happen. I had connections or whatever. But it got worse. Her mental illness got worse. And some of you heard my story in January and March, and here's an update. My sister's orders for eviction and detention were executed the same day, March 25th. I told corporate counsel, who told my sister's attorney for the 3PD hearing, that my sister was evicted and had nowhere to live. Nearly 3 weeks later, on Friday, April 12th, corporate counsel tells me she is ordered to take medication and committed to on an outpatient basis and will be released from Granite Hills that day. I was in shock. I was expecting inpatient commitment. I was told we rarely do inpatient commitments anymore. No one from Granite Hills contacted me. I wish they had. I'm sure it was because my sister directed them not to, which is understandable from her perspective because she's mentally ill and thinks that I'm ruining her life. Really, I'm trying to help. But it does not help her. That they are not talking with me, and people won't talk with me. Even if, because of HIPAA and all those things, right? Even if the staff could have not told me anything about her, I could have shared important information to help them help her and help with her discharge plan, to help put her in a better position to succeed. It takes a village of us to help these people, not silos. But instead Granite Hills ignored the system, set my sister up to fail. Letting her leave Granite Hills on a Friday afternoon with nowhere to live, seemingly with no medication, and her state health insurance not renewed because it expired on March 31st. She was at Granite Hills 3 weeks. They could have helped her get her insurance renewed and medication in her hands until insurance was active again. They could have called her landlord with my sister to confirm, do you really have a place to go to? Because I'm sure she probably thought she still lived there, because after she left her until she walked there and said, where's my stuff? I'll tell it, and neighbors can tell you the opposite, that I don't care. Could they have put her in transitional housing with services available in the facility to give her therapy, to work through her life's traumas, do medication check-ins, read over life skills, help her get a job and a home? They did none of that. Milwaukee County has this housing first philosophy that says they can do this for a person shut budget limits or but why didn't it? Instead, she was on the street, a beautiful woman, no money, no food, no place to go, and no vacation. I was so afraid that she was going to have to start selling herself to survive, or steal and be a criminal. But it seems like, why do we be criminals to get the help that we need? Why do we have to do that? She has burnt many bridges with friends and family over the past 2 years. She was so lucky to find one more friend in Minnesota to take her in on Sunday and go to 14. She had known Angie was struggling with mental illness recently, and she knew she was leaving Granite Hills to go. The first week, her text messages to me and my sister were fine. I'm like, great, she's on a good track. That's because she was on medication at Granite Hills for the week before. The second week, she sent me a string, like 50 screenshots and text regurgitating many of her delusions and how angry she was with me, but still loved me, and messages about her daughter who was placed with me. The third week, at Tuesday, April 30th, a friend contacted me stating she's doing okay, she's calm, but she struggles. She needs hand holding. And she's not taking her Abilify medication. She only wants to pick up certain medications, such as vitamins, which I learned that bipolar people should not be taking it. She's recently been diagnosed by bipolar syndrome, so that may have even started. She doesn't believe she's sick, therefore she didn't want to take medication, so it wasn't that an option. I was really hoping that she might get some injections for long-lasting meds. The next morning, Wednesday, May 1st, after talking with this lady, I woke up to a text message saying at 1 a.m. saying that she's dropping my sister off at the bus station and sending her to Milwaukee, and she'll get here at 11. I called corporate council group or someone in that department and said, okay, we'll try to see what we can do. And by order of people, nothing came up. The friends told me that my sister poisoned her by putting something in her food and things her cat's food and her cat got by it. The morning of the first week, I spoke with her. So yeah, she's not in compliance, and she was scary, and there was no consequences. 9 days later, I get a call from another friend of my sister, and he picked her up and found her at the bus stop, dressed like, as he said, a homeless hooker. She said, it's my New York style. She is left again. This time, the friend is also an old boss with some knowledge about mental health. And he called the police and the crisis unit to try to help her, but they didn't do much. He's letting her live there for a while, but not forever. He's making her work at 7 or 8 hair salons that he manages, because she's a hairstylist, and she's very good. He called me a week later. She's bad again. So he took her down, and he was told they sat there and answered questions, and then was told that they only serve involuntary, and so they need to call the police to evaluate and check her. So he called the police, and he even had me on the phone with them. But by then she was calm. So he he yelled at her. He picked up her medication and somehow he's convinced her to take it. And so she's actually doing much better, but she's still delusional. Not everyone is so lucky. I'm skeptical about her future. Once she leaves her friend's home, I think she will stop her meds. Because she's really not getting here. That is hard to know without the heaviness. So I know this, some of the things touch on the budget, I think with the stories that you hear from every person, it hopefully helps you think about what's the budget and how in this situation. And all this is good. Thank you.
She used to one person online a couple of times.
Yeah,
Hi, good morning. Thank you again for being here and for your time, being willing to listen. I decided to you. My name is Mario, I'm with Montosa, and I personally have been affected by mental illness, and I'm lucky to have the resources to have been supported by the psychiatric hospital here in Montosa. And so I just wanted to voice on behalf of myself, my family, and people who are critical in the community.
You say the
There
Dewey Center over there.
always a need for language consultative and resources. And so I just want to ask for ways in which we are representing the diversity of Milwaukee, not just racial, but also linguistic diversity that exists. And I know that a lot of times when I pass at resource fairs from governmental organizations, town level, and I usually ask like, oh, do you have a Spanish speaker on staff, or is there someone that I can talk to who speaks fluent Spanish? And obviously Spanish, because that's the population that I live with the most, but it makes me also think of the Hmong population and the Rohingya and Arabic speakers that we have in our city. So it's just an ask to please maintain that at the forefront when looking for ways that they're supporting youth as well, because that's something that I think, even though, for example, in the Hispanic and Latino community, we might have our younger generation speaks more English, but we still have this need for culturally responsive resources. Just because we can speak English doesn't mean we see ourselves represented in a lot of material that is developed. And so that's an ask. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I want to. You guys are. This enough. And, the reality is, we bring real life experiences. We're not, that's made it look good. Because there's something, you tell me that we're losing $1 million in several programs for adults. You know where they're going? Jail. That's where they're going. That's why you don't have the need for, because we created a system that the jail system and prison system are mental. And every one of us is responsible. All I'm saying to you guys is, it's just stuff. Really. And sitting there saying, oh, good funding. You gotta make do with what you got. You gotta find better ways to make things happen. You look wrong, shouldn't have happened. My son is not okay. He's mentally ill. And that's wrong. Because you guys, not you, but we show up. And you know what's easy to do? Children for mental health. It's ridiculous, it's inhumane. What we use, eminent danger. You're violating some rights. I'm not getting much. My son's rights are being. And my rights being, and like this is killing. I'm too used to be here. I almost was knocked out. Got scars here, like one bit on chin. And when my family said, and the police, you got to come out, you got to do something. Somebody was told same thing at the hospital by the care. The car, you're gonna get over. Really, really sad. I want to ask, is there anybody here? Anybody? Have you lived on the street? Mary, thank you. I lived on the street early in my life.
It's not progressive, it's just kind of.
It's not one.
Probably can socialize.
So beaten down. Or they're mentally so disabled to make the right decisions. And you have to be okay. And that's what I'm asking you guys to start getting. Is a cultural illness that we have to see is wrong. We can do better. And I don't think this. Because we're here to hopefully be part of the solution. You guys. And like I said, we can make the numbers look good. But if there's no run, why is there time to watch? Why are the jails filled where they can't even feed us? It's like, oh, the hours. Because he didn't have a violent test, and then I didn't pursue charges. Given you a criminal that we're close. Then you can have a criminal life. And what are you going to do next time you get taxed? You're going to throw them in jail again. So, somehow start making. I know this.
Thank you all very much. Your comments. I think, I think that they left and you speaking, so with that, I think we are here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.